Nirvana have always had a potted history with drummers, with Kurt and Chris always striving for sonic perfection and often venting their fury at any performer not giving 100%. This was exacerbated by Kurt's own experience playing the drums for so long. Dale Crover soon had to return to the Melvins, but recommended a local Aberdeen drummer, Dave Foster, as a replacement. After a problematic start, however, Kurt decided Dave was not up to the job and fired him, leaving the band once again drummerless. Meanwhile, Jack Endino had started passing the band's demo tapes around influential movers of the Seattle rock scene. Jonathan Poneman of Seattle indie label Sub Pop was impressed enough to add Nirvana to the bill of their next Sub Pop Sunday showcase concert at Seattle's tiny Vogue Club. In June 1988, Kurt and Chris returned to Reciprocal Studios with new drummer Chad Channing to cut their debut single, Love Buzz.
Chad Channing, who was the drummer that was the longest drummer other than Dave Grohl, was this little tiny short guy. I had some people describe him almost as an elf when I was working on my book. And so the combination of him and Kurt, both these really short guys with really long hair, it was a freak show. It was a circus seeing this band. You had two really short guys with long hair, and you had this gigantic, ogre of a guy almost that was taller than you could imagine. So they had quite a visual element, and the sound that they created was not really what you expected they would create from their looks.
However, they still didn't have a contract, any money, or indeed a fan base beyond a few kids in Olympia who were gradually catching on to this increasingly intense young band. They could tell something big was definitely stirring. Like most people, producer Steve Fisk's first impressions were not that great.
Yeah, the first time I saw them, I walked out on them. I thought they were terrible. But yeah, they were trying to work the extra guitar player into the band and having a bad evening, and I was so up to here with all my friends screaming trees and what I was saying, you've got to see this band. They're playing, and they played in Ellensburg, the small town I was saying. They played at the community center, and they just had a bad night. They weren't jerks, they just really sucked, and the PA was terrible and was hurting my ears, and I said, I think I'm 33 years old and I'm going to go work on my own music right now instead of watch these guys suffer through a bad set, just to say I saw Nirvana.
But Steve soon realised he'd seen the band on a bad day and was recommended to check them out again by enthusiastic fans and Jonathan Poneman from Sub Pop.
And Jonathan at Sub Pop thought it would be nice for me to work with Nirvana, sort of after they did their Bleach record. Been a Son was probably where most of the work went, and they were working on harmonies and trying to kind of maybe make that into kind of like a bigger sound. We had a digital reverb that was sort of the trendy thing for the time period, so I was showing them how to make the snare drum do the big kind of Born in the USA thing or something.
Well, I think when Kurt began to write about himself,